Welcome to the More to Life podcast. I am your host, Elle Mace.
And we are joined by Melissa Suffield, who is the confident mama on Instagram. Hello, Melissa.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm okay. I'm good. The sun's shining.
Sun is shining. It is. It was my daughter's sports day earlier and it was too hot, but I'm not going to complain.
I've got sports day next week. He's not great at losing. I've had to buy a book about not being a bad sport.
Oh, I love that.
He's not happy when he loses a race. So yeah, we're doing a lot of prep.
Oh, I love that. That's so great. So Melissa, just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
So I am Melissa, the confident mama. I live in Kent with my 5-year-old son and sometimes with my fiance Robert, but he works on a cruise ship. So he is gone for like 4 months at a time. I'm what we call a part-time solo mum. Sometimes alone. He's a cruise director, which is like the head of the entertainment team. He used to be a singer and he's kind of like moved up. So now he's in charge of all the singers. It's like the face of the ship kind of energy.
That sounds like a very, very, very fun job to me.
It's pretty camp is what it is. It's pretty camp. There's a lot of performance aspect to it, but he enjoys it. So yeah, when I'm at home with my son, I am largely an Instagrammer, a content creator, influencer, and working primarily in like fashion, body confidence, and more recently, like in health and how that just all kind of comes together, really.
Amazing. I've seen your Instagram and it is absolutely banging.
Thank you.
I did ask you earlier before we recorded, do you do content creation? Because I would love you to do mine.
I mean, look, sometimes, yeah, but I'm forceful with my personality. Sometimes you want someone who's a bit more easily moldable to a brand, whereas I am who I am at this point.
Yeah, I love it so much. So why did you get into this Instagram? Like you said before, like your Instagram started about 5 years ago, and then maybe when your son was around 1 or 2, started to like take it a bit more seriously. What got you into that?
I had my son a week before lockdown. There was nothing going on, and my partner was also kept at home. So neither of us could work in the industries that we're really in. There was just a lot of time spent at home. And I think I just started kind of using Instagram like for fun. And then people started to enjoy it. And then it just kind of happened from that point. And then I worked out that actually it could be something that could be a source of income. And then I worked out that actually it was kind of a bit more important than that anyway, because actually reaching people and helping them was so great. And it was a way for me to creatively flex my muscles that I need to be constantly flexing in order to be like a happy person. If I'm stifled creatively, I'm just not like an operational human being. I become quite quickly very lazy, for want of a better word. Like I'll happily just sit and do fuck all for like hours. Whereas when I know I've got something creative to do, I genuinely want to do it. And it makes me more productive in like every aspect of my life. So finding something that I could do every day that was creative, even if it's just like writing captions, really helps. I can't fathom the idea of like using AI to do any of my content. Whereas that's, I think all I see these days is just captions very clearly written by ChatGPT. I can't fathom doing that because that's a huge part of the job for me. Coming up with the ideas, writing the captions, planning the content, that's a huge part of the creative process. So for me, it's incredibly well suited to who I am as a person. Yeah. So it's kind of, I found like the ideal job for me, really, using all my skills from performance, all my skills from being self-employed and just molding them together. And then really working out that actually, I think I had something kind of important to say. And I think as I honed my thoughts on it and really like knuckled down to the bare bones of what it was that I really wanted to get across, I was like, actually, I think it's good that I'm here. And I think what I'm doing is important to a degree. Not to sound like I'm tooting my own horn too much, but I think like there were people that needed to be reached and I was reaching them, and that wasn't for nothing.
Your message is incredibly important. Everybody has a body, everyone has an image, everyone has a confidence level. So you're speaking to everybody to some extent. You just touched on your experience in performance. So I remember you as Lucy Beale from EastEnders. Which you did until you were 17. Now, when did the start of your body image maybe struggles, or there might be a better word for that, when did that start? Was any of that apparent in your teenage years on set?
It definitely was apparent in my teenage years. I wasn't like an early developer, put it that way.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a late developer, but I never really got boobs, really. And that was always a source of depression to some degree, because I was like, oh, I was surrounded by girls who had, and it was very much like, oh, they're the women and I'm the girl.
Yeah.
And that was really just like annoying to me. Like I wanted boys to find me attractive.
Yeah.
And to not make, I wanted to seem the same as them. So that was annoying. Like I remember shouting at my mum. I hated her because I clearly got my small boobs from her. Like I remember just being like, I hate you. Because I was like, there's fuck all I can do about this. What do I do about this? So I remember like as a teenager wearing just the most obscenely padded bras. Yeah. Sometimes I would wear 2 bras.
Yeah.
Me now, no bra. I can't fathom the idea of wearing 2 bras, 2 wired padded bras. Yeah. Mental. That was like a source of, I didn't feel great about them at all. Yeah. And then as I kind of aged through life, still didn't love them, but actually worked out that there was quite a lot of power in small boobs. I didn't have to wear a bra. That was like a real game changer for me. I was like, went from believing that I had to be sexy, I had to have big boobs against my otherwise quite small frame. But without the big boobs, there was no way that anyone could ever deem me like sexy or attractive. I'd always just be cute. And I never wanted to be cute. Like, who wants to be called cute? Yeah. Right? You want to be called beautiful, stunning. You don't want to be adorable, cute. But that was all I ever got. So I was just, oh, hate. But then kind of just leaned into that. And I was like, actually, you absolutely can be sexy. And leaned into it completely. And yes, it was true. Then it all flipped on its head. Just as I was getting happy with the small boobs, or as my friend was calling them at the time, he was like, you got really French tits. And I was like, what? He was like, you got French tits. It's just like a handful, very French. And I was like, okay, I can get on board with French tits. I love that. All right, thanks. Then I got pregnant and basically became like a cow overnight. Like they swelled so big. The nips on a pregnant body, oh my God. They went from being like my normal, quite small pink to burgers. And I was like, what the fuck just happened? And I was looking in the tap of the bath. So like, should have been kinder to myself. I remember being sat in the bath, got my belly, these massive boobs hanging down. And I remember seeing myself in the tap and just went, oh my God. Like it was insane. And I was just like, this is depressing. But everyone was like, you know, if you breastfeed after you give birth, you're going to lose all that weight. It's going to be fine. I got burned up about 36 weeks pregnant, probably around that time. And suddenly I really thought I got away with no stretch marks. Oh my God, they were everywhere, all over my tummy and on my thighs. They were so dark. And I was just like, oh my God, I thought I got away scot-free and I hadn't. And then after I gave birth, I didn't lose the weight because I was breastfeeding, but I was pumping exclusively because it was lockdown and there wasn't really much hands-on support and we were struggling. But I'm very stubborn and I didn't want to switch to formula. I wanted to exhaust every possible option first. So exclusively pumped for a year, which is great. But what they don't tell you about the mental taxing nature of exclusively pumping is that you can see what you're making. I was pretty lucky. I was what we call a just over producer. So if my son drank 5 ounces, I was making about 5.5. Mm-hmm. So I could basically save a bit aside, pop it in the freezer. So I was like, had a really good like supply going. On a day where I didn't maybe make my normal amount, I would go batshit hard eating. Mm-hmm. We're talking a whole roll of Oreos because apparently they're great for milk production. We're blending them with oat milk because they're great for milk production. I'm eating cookies from lactation places that are like 500 calories a cookie. Yeah. And I just stacked it on. Couple this with the fact that my birth was quite long. There was no injury per se, but I do call it a birth injury because I was on my back for a long time. It was 2 solid hours of pushing to the point where they were like 10 minutes more and we have to C-section you. So really had to push quite hard. I'm still immobile today. So there was a lot of immobility. And so I couldn't like go to the gym, run or anything else that you do to lose weight. So it really just piled it on. And it was really quite depressing. And I was just like, I feel fucking horrible. I'm just like heavy. And I've got no energy because I've also got a young child. And I think he got to about 9-ish, 10-ish months. And I was really just hating everything about it. Yeah. And then I was like, this has to change. And I know I can't change the way that I look at this point. I'm not in a position in my life to change the way that I look. I can't go to the gym because my legs are killing me. I'm pumping milk for this child, and that's not going to change for at least another couple of months. I have to change the mindset. I've got to try. Actually, what changed in the content was that then it became quite underwear focused because I loved the boobs.
Yeah.
Because I was fatter, I had big boobs. And I was like, oh shit, I got what I always wanted, just in a different way than I thought. Exactly. So I was able to kind of use that initial positivity as a real like jumping off point, feeling positive about the rest of my body. I was like, I fit the good bras. I've got the cleavage. I've got what I've always wanted. And I used that to then kind of steady the way I felt about myself in the other aspects of my body. So making content in my underwear at times when I was actually feeling just like really unsure of the way that I looked, it became like an accountability measure.
Yeah.
So it wasn't about people going, you look amazing, because I didn't need that. The only person I've ever needed approval from is myself. I think that's part of the confidence as well. Because obviously I talk the confident mama. The reason I'm not the body confident mama is because I am coming at you with confidence from every aspect of life.
Yeah.
And that is because I grew up in drama classes and dance classes, and I grew up on a stage and in front of cameras. You learn, like I would advocate for children having artistic freedom of expression in clubs and in lessons at school, because it is such a confidence builder. Even for shy children who think they don't want to do it, there is such a confidence that comes from it. So I've always had a really good base level of confidence. So that then came into play. So I really didn't need other people telling me I look great, or I didn't care when they told me I look shit. It wasn't really something that factored in, but it was more about how I felt about myself. And that's how I knew it was the mindset that needed changing, not the body, because it was all to do with me. Yeah. And being held accountable by posting this, there's quite a lot of power in that. And being like, look, I did it. It's that taking risks that builds confidence as well. Like I did a mini series of it being like taking the risk with clothes. And this is like, for example, what was one that I did? It was like swimwear. So I was like, mini risk is wearing a swimsuit. Then a little bit of a bigger risk is wearing a bikini with a high waist. And then the biggest risk is wearing one where your whole tummy's out. So it's like taking you in steps of risk, and how much risk do you want to take, because the payoff is different for each one. And it is like that in general. That is what builds confidence, taking a tiny risk that, and I call them micro risks. It can be something that like you notice and feels like a massive deal to you, but honestly, no one else cares about. Like maybe you normally wear your hair down, but now you wear it up and you're like, I feel so exposed, and no one gives a shit. Not one person cares except for you. Or maybe you normally wear like a nude lip, and today you're going to go with like a red. Little tiny weeny things, and they just make such a massive difference if you keep doing it over time. And it feels like such a bizarre like hack. Like, why isn't everyone doing this? Because
when you say the word risk, it's like some people that would be like, okay, something, if it's a risk and something bad is going to happen,
we're so conditioned to be frightened. And
so
because I think as women as well, society really only has benefit from keeping us frightened. It really only benefits when we're frightened, or when we are trying to improve things that we've been told are flaws. Really, that's how they keep us down. When we're frightened for our lives, we collect and we gather and we're timid. When we're frightened that someone's going to take the piss out of us, we don't put ourselves on the line. When we are afraid, we don't fulfill our potential. And that's deeply frightening to society, because ultimately it is a very quite toxic patriarchal society that we don't benefit from as long as we are afraid. So there is constantly messaging that we need to improve this and we need to fix this and buy this because it will fix you and you will feel better about yourself. But actually, the mindset is always going to be at the baseline anyway. Always. Yes. Do I feel better when I've got like mascara on my eyes? Yes, I do. I do feel better. I do prefer photos of myself when I've got mascara. Do I need it? No. That learning is the difference in, that's where the line is. Did I need to put makeup on my face for this podcast today? No, I did not. So I didn't. It's that kind of thing. It's, whereas there was potentially a time when I wouldn't have dreamed of coming on without mascara, because I've always had a bit of a thing about having small eyes. But actually there's a lot of power in going, I literally don't need to, because having mascara on my eyes is not going to affect the words that come out of my mouth. And that's what I'm there to do. It's all that unpicking and that unlearning that we have to do as women in a society that is not geared for us to succeed.
Yeah. And also, so much of it is someone's own narrative that isn't even true or happening. So, like, as you said
Exactly.
that, I thought from the start, looking at you, I love your eyes. Like, your eyes are so beautiful. Honestly, that is a feature of you that I've been like, wow. And then you said there might be this complex about small eyes. It's like, oh my
Yeah.
God, it's crazy. This is literally
Yeah.
the part of you that I was like, wow, beautiful,
It's
shiny
mad.
eyes.
I know. It's just one of those things. Like I say it in my content quite a lot as well. Your self-consciousness is truly only important to you. And this doesn't speak for everyone because I am very aware people, especially in like bigger bodies, much bigger bodies as well, they will be laughed at and pointed at in the street by other people. They will be. So I can't just say as a blanket statement to everyone that you're the only person who notices your insecurities, because it isn't true for everyone. And it would be reductive of me to imply that that was the truth. But there is still power, even for those people who are openly being mocked. There is a power in still building on those confidence skills so that it can become more of a water off a duck's back situation. Because actually, when you don't give power to the people mocking, they lose power. They won't do it a second time because they didn't get the response they wanted the first time. They're bullies, ultimately. Body shamers are bullies. And if we don't give them the power, then they will ultimately go away. There's still benefit to learning those confidence skills and to building on that. But for the majority of people who, like, a big one is covering your arms in the summer, going out in a jumper when it's 30 like mad. It could never be me. I'm too aggressive in the heat. It could never be me. But for some people, that's just something that they would just never dream of doing. And it's that kind of person that I want to reach, because those micro risks is, I think, where they're going to find their joy.
Yeah.
And they're going to find a real source of power that they didn't actually necessarily know that they had.
Yeah. Yeah.
Powerful women are my jam. Powerful, confident women are my hobby at this point. I want a whole nation of women who feel empowered in the way that they look, so that then they can feel empowered in the way that they speak up at work, or empowered in the way that they sort out the responsibilities in their household, or empowered enough to go, do you know what? That's not working for me, so I'm not going to do it anymore. Yeah. And I honestly believe that it starts somewhere, and it can start with the clothes you wear, or it can start with the body that you have. And it doesn't have to start on such a grand level, because it has to start small so you can build the skills. You have to grow. You can't just be confident because you spoke up at work. It doesn't work like that. You have to work on it every day. Like, I have to work on it every day. I still have to spend time with my body in the mirror or whatever, which to some people they go, I could never look at my body in the mirror. Yeah. But again, you get to that point. You get to that point by practicing, by reminding yourself and constantly affirming yourself. And it feels and it sounds really just like self-indulgent, like narcissistic, to constantly be reminding yourself that you're a bad bitch. But no one else is going to remind you, babe. Yeah. No one else is going to remind you you're a bad bitch, because they have no benefit in reminding you that you're a bad bitch. But you have the power to be one, at least. So you have to tell yourself, RuPaul, if you can't love yourself, how are you going to love anybody else? It's true. You have to be narcissistic to some degree to get that flowing in the first place.
Yeah. It's respecting yourself and knowing your worth. And everyone is so worthy. And that's long-term society. Like, I always remember my dad kind of saying he grew up in an environment where it was like, don't show off. Come on. No, like,
she loves herself. Number one insult, apparently, for women. I'm like, yeah, I do. Not an insult. That's exactly what I've been working towards. Thank you for noticing it. Or she's so full of herself. Yeah, I'm full of me. I've worked on me. I'm really proud of who me is. Yeah. Who the fuck else am I going to be full of? Yeah. What do you want me to be empty of myself? You don't want me to have my personality. Of course you don't, because that benefits you, employer or man or whoever it may be. Like, that benefits you if I'm not full of myself. Of course it does. I'm going to be as full of myself as I possibly can be.
Yeah, and that's not just for people who are like extrovert. I think there's this like misconception that if you're extroverted, etc., then you're more full of yourself. But you can be really introverted, but also be full of yourself.
Still be powerful, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Like, I think I am desperate, like extrovert. I get so much joy and cup filling from being around people. And that is something I've noticed since having my son, is that I don't get to do it often. And even more so, like in the last 18 months, having like a chronic illness, I almost never leave my house these days. And it's so funny how it's just changed so many things about me, and how it, like, I can feel certain lights go out where they wouldn't if I was out and about seeing people. Like, I'm the kind of person, you get me to the co-op and I'll have like a 30-second discussion every single time with the lady behind the till. I have to constantly be having conversations, and I'll talk to anyone because it gives me a pep in my step. It has changed a lot of things about myself. But yes, introvert, extrovert really does just come down to, do you refill your cup by being alone, or do you refill your cup by being with other people? And I think there's a lot of misconception that it's extrovert is a confident person and introvert is a shy person. And it's not that. It's really about, are you sociable or are you preferring to be on your own?
Yeah.
And those two things can cross. You can have an extroverted person who is actually quite shy.
Yeah.
They can be extroverted in that they love spending time with other people, but no strangers. Or you can have an introverted person who is so confident in their ability to be themselves that they don't have to be with other people to know who they are. Like, they really do cross streams quite a lot. Confidence is available to everyone. It doesn't discriminate. That's the thing. The world discriminates. Life discriminates. Society sure as shit discriminates.
Yeah.
And it will be harder for many, many people out there. But confidence doesn't discriminate. You can have it if you want it. You might have to have more of it to deal with society than some people. We talk about things like pretty privilege or white privilege or thin privilege. These people probably need slightly less confidence in the world to succeed. However, even those people in bigger bodies or people of color or queer people or whatever it may be, they can still have confidence. It is available to them. They will just unfortunately need probably more of it, or need to be working at it more frequently, which is a complete injustice and not okay, but sadly is just the reality. It's just one of those things. But confidence is available to everyone. It doesn't discriminate. You can have it.
Yeah. It just takes a lot of hard work. It's not literally a matter of like,
this is the thing. I often describe it as therapy, because it is. You have to, A, look at yourself, B, have some pretty harsh words probably with yourself, and really learn about the things that make you tick. And that can be quite confronting, and that can make you feel sad or angry or whatever. And it's the same with, you know, you start therapy, you start talking to someone, you learn a lot of shit about yourself that maybe you were ignoring because you didn't like it. But then once you know this, you then start to learn about society, and you start to make the connections between like white supremacy and thinness, and you start to make the connections between keeping women down and why that's a benefit to society and all of this. And you start to link it all together. And then you start unlearning that, and you start learning new things. You start learning about fat phobia. You start learning about body positivity movement and what that meant before we took the term body positivity and just did whatever the fuck we like with it. You learn about the people who started it.
Yeah.
And then you start to understand. And in doing all of that learning, you can then start to build a toolkit that works for you. Because not all of everything that you've learned will be relevant to you and your story and your journey. But you start to understand. And by learning all of that, you start also then sticking up for people who maybe aren't in your bracket of life and don't fit the same criteria as you. And there's power in that as well. And that's how we get a load of like activated voices. And that's how we get people who want to actually assert change.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I'm not purporting to be one of those people who is constantly talking and enacting change. I have a 5-year-old son. I'm not going to marches. I'm not rallying, right? I physically, me, one person, don't have the energy. So what I do at the baseline is mobilize women to hopefully continue. I'm baselining it. I'm getting in on the ground floor and just hoping that I can enact enough change in enough women to help them want to learn more and grow more and keep going with it, so that we have this like army of strong women.
Oh, good with that, Bea. So what would you say then? We were speaking offline, you know, you had your beautiful boy, then you gained weight, and then actually you ended up losing quite a lot of weight because also you have this chronic illness. So do you want to just talk us a little bit about that?
Sure. So I have something called SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And it's basically the large intestine has a load of bacteria in there, which we know has good bacteria and bad bacteria. And they're both meant to be there, but they're in like a perfect balance in a happy body. When they get out of balance, that's when we start to have issues. Even a slight imbalance of even a beneficial bacteria can mean that you have acne. But normally it's going to be like digestive changes and stuff. The small intestine has some bacteria, but not a lot. When you get some there, it's bad. It's bad for your body. It's bad for pretty much every single part of your life, is what I have worked out. Mine was triggered by having, still not 100% sure which, because whoever really knows which they've had, either food poisoning or gastroenteritis. But I had awful nausea. My son had awful diarrhea, and I just never got better, basically. I had this horrible trigger incident. I didn't poo for 5 days. And I was like, why am I not pooing? And in that time, what's happened is it's all stagnated in my body because it wasn't coming out. And that is where we're pretty sure bacteria then grew. And it is so unbelievably hard to get it out of the small intestine. It's not like you take antibiotics and it's gone. No. You take multiple courses of antibiotics for it to barely move. Honestly, it's such a horrible, multifaceted thing. And it's not just like a bit of bloating. We're talking, I was like daily nausea. I'm doing a lot better these days overall, but I'm also 14,000 pounds deep into the journey. I'm on a cocktail of like drugs, supplements, all sorts of shit. I only eat about 8 foods on a rotation so as not to inflame the system or flare up any symptoms. Every part of my body has been affected. Like my gut, my hair's falling out, I got like blackheads on my chin that I never had previously, headaches all the time, fatigue so bad that I sometimes can't even walk upstairs. It's not just a bit of bloating. It's constantly worrying and constantly being stressed and the health anxiety that's come along with it. Like at the moment, I'm in like a fight response. Like I'm just wanting to get rid of it. And I'm very one-track minded on healing and doing all of that and being quite aggressive in the way that I speak about SIBO as well, because the NHS response to it is like proper shit. Just a very new thing that hasn't really been in the like medical lexicon for more than a few years. So lots of gastroenterologists in the UK have just never even heard of it. They certainly don't know how to treat it. And the advice they have is not great. I want to kind of make enough noise about it that the more people's mouths have the word SIBO in it, the more we have to keep going with it, the more people have to wake up. Because there are hundreds of thousands of people in the UK with unexplained symptoms in their digestive systems. And SIBO might be the answer for some of them, but they don't know it exists. I didn't know it existed. It was 3 months into my journey. I only found out it existed because I did a stool microbiome test and it came back and said that I had slightly elevated levels of a bacteria, well, an archaea called Methanobrevibacter smithii. And I was like, okay, what is that? Googled it and it was like, oh, it's like methane and there's slightly high levels, maybe do a SIBO test. And sure as shit, there it was, methane dominant SIBO. But I didn't even know that I had it. I'd never heard of it.
No, I hadn't.
And I was having digestive complaints for like 3 months prior. So it's one of those things, but like it's really common after having COVID. I had COVID 6 weeks before that trigger event. So it might be that actually the COVID laid the groundwork and then the trigger event just was the final nail in the coffin. Like there's so many elements to it, but it has ended me. It has literally flipped me upside down, just fucking shaken me till all the coins fell out my pocket. Like I've been robbed of life. Truly. It's taken so much from me. Money, energy, time, quality time that I could have been spending with my child, where I've just had to give him an iPad and lay down on a bed for 3 hours. It's bleak. Like I go, can you play with me? And I'm like, I'm really sorry. No. And there's nothing worse than having to say no in that sense. Like it's dreadful. Or knowing that one game playing with him on the floor for 15 minutes, I will need to go and lie down for an hour. So it's like, is it worth it? What's better? Talking to him on the sofa or playing the game and then having to be alone for an hour? Like, which is better? It's definitely been difficult, but it took a lot from me, including all that baby weight and then some. I couldn't control the weight loss at first because my primary symptom was nausea. I would go 36 hours without food because I couldn't physically stomach the idea of putting food in my mouth. or I'd try and eat and immediately spit it out. Because I was like, if I swallow this, I will be sick, because there was just a complete inability to eat, a complete aversion to food. And then when I was eating again, it was just so plain and such small amounts, because I didn't want to overload my system. Now I'm in a better place with food a bit, in the sense that I can eat a larger meal and know that I'm okay. I've got my systems in place to help. But even then, there are certain foods that I don't touch because it's too risky. I have to be clear of SIBO before I would even consider touching them. So I'm also, on top of all of this, pretty malnourished, because I'm definitely not getting all my food groups. On top of that, I can't take certain multivitamins, because certain types of B vitamins will make me feel... It's literally just a knock-on effect of all of it. Like, I'm deficient in many things. I have to now inject B12, and I do that myself, because again, the NHS did not help me there either. Like, so many aspects of my life have been completely changed, but it did give me a new fight, and I'm never happier than when I've got a fight.
And also
when I've got something I need to teach people, I'm never happier than when I'm educating.
Yeah, and now it's like you have an even bigger appreciation for your body when there's nothing wrong
100%,
with it.
Honestly, like there are so many things I've learned about the digestive system as well. One of them that really sticks out to me all the time is we're always told about like chewing our food. You want to chew your food 20 times each mouthful because you'll lose weight by doing this.
Yeah.
Actually, if they told us the real reason why we needed to chew our food 20 times, because it's true, you need to chew your food 20 times before you swallow it. Do I? No. But should I? 100%. We all should be. Because when we chew our food 20 times, it allows the saliva in our mouth to create the enzymes that we need to break down the food. And when we have the enzymes, it triggers the stomach acid, which continues to break down the food. And if we don't have the stomach acid or the enzymes, we're not going to produce the bile, which is going to help us get that food through our system as well. So if we don't chew our food enough, we're putting pretty solid chunks of food in there, not triggering the digestive responses we want. And therefore, it's going to move around your system very sluggishly and in big pieces. And when it does that, you might get SIBO. If we had been teaching people about chewing their food, not from a vanity perspective,
No.
but from a scientific, digestive, biological perspective, we might be fucking doing it. But we're so obsessed as a nation on the idea that health and body is the same thing, that like weight control and health are connected.
Yeah.
That we forget about actually the importance of doing these things. And it just all comes back to why we look the way we look. Like Ozempic, a huge part of that. The way that Ozempic and like GLP-1 medications work is they slow the digestive system down. They retain food in your stomach for longer, so you feel fuller for longer. My whole thing, this whole fucking thing, the thing that I take medication for is to speed up emptying of my stomach. Because when food is held in your stomach for too long, you feel sick.
Yeah.
Because it's not going anywhere. The idea to me that people willingly put them in a situation where they can retain food in their stomach and feel sick, when I have been battling that for 18 months, is mental to me. Like a new level of unhinged in the body image world. And I understand that it's not as easy as that. And I respect everyone's rights to do whatever they want to do with their body. But I truly wish I could reach these people who want to lose a bit of weight. The real people I wish I could reach are the people who aren't even big to begin with. You're like size 16s and under. I really want to meet them and just explain to them. I would love to pop them in my body for 24 hours when I was at my worst and go, really? Do you want to feel like this? Because I had so many people accuse me of being on Ozempic, like, oh, she's lost all this weight and she feels sick all the time, so it must be Ozempic. I was like, no, it's not. And fuck would I never. No, absolutely no way. Not now I know what I know. I wouldn't have anyway, but knowing this now, Christ, not a chance.
Yeah.
Because also there's this stigma attached to weight loss and weight gain.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, we're never happy unless we're judging someone else's body as a society. We're never happy unless we're judging. Look at like talent shows. We're all sat on the sofa going, oh, I don't think they were very good, were they? And then we watch a panel of judges tell them they weren't very good. And then we're watching shows like Next Top Model, and they're also being judged. And then we look in our magazines and we've got hot or not columns or who were at best. And there we are, we're judging again. So is it any wonder that we judge ourselves? We've been so conditioned.
We live in a world of judgment.
We've been conditioned to judge for sport.
Yeah.
Like we're judging for entertainment and for sport. And there's no nuance ever. with these things, even, you know, on these, like, even on like one of my favorite talent shows ever that I watch religiously is RuPaul's Drag Race. And even on that, there's some nuance for artistic creativity. But even then, the judges will still say, I didn't like this dress on you. And it's like, cool, but I liked this dress on me.
Yeah.
So there's still an element of judging, even on shows that actually don't judge so harshly. We're still so conditioned to believe that judgment is entertainment. We're just so geared up for doing it.
Yeah, we're programmed.
And we really are. So then when other people are getting Botox, or other people are getting Ozempic, or other people are doing fat freezing or lip filler or whatever, we have to do it to keep up, because otherwise we'll be judged. We will be the not. They will be the hot and we will be the not. They will be wearing it better than us.
Yeah.
They will be the winner and we will be the loser. That's the problem with it at its core, is that we need to be keeping up. So I'm not saying that there isn't a place for those kinds of medications. I'm sure there's a place in much, much bigger bodies, because you have to weigh up the pros and the cons. Yeah. So there are obviously huge risks that come with being on these medications, but there are obviously also huge risks that come with being very, very overweight. So you weigh up your pros and cons, like, which is more dangerous to me now?
Exactly.
In someone who's like a size 14, I think Ozempic is the bigger problem.
Yeah.
100%. And it's just sad.
They're like,
exactly. I know of people who are like size 10.
Yeah.
Who have started it just to control the way that they eat.
Stop the food noise, because they don't want the food noise.
Exactly. But you know what? I had food noise massively. That was part of the reason why I was getting bigger, because I would eat and eat and eat, because I love food. What I will tell you is that having the threat of chronic illness looming over you, nothing will get you back on track with your food like that, Will. No, nothing will do it. I've had so many people say to me, like, how have you lost weight, etc. And I say, oh, I'm not very well. And then they immediately apologize. And they're like, oh, I'm really sorry. I just wondered if you'd been doing anything to trying to lose weight. And the majority of people are like that. But you will all get the odd comment and be like, oh, I need a bit of SIBO. I had a very, very prominent, known body confidence person make that joke at my face. And I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? It was obscene. And I was like, Jesus, imagine wishing you had an illness that has taken so much from me because of weight loss. I'm seeing on the back of your wall, there is more to life. There is more to life than losing weight. Your health is worth more. Yeah. And I know that sometimes your health will go hand in hand with weight loss. Not always. And when weight loss comes along with aggressively attacking your health, that's not the way to do it either.
Yeah, exactly. Choose health over weight loss. And health isn't even associated. It's not weight loss.
No, do you know what? Sometimes they'll go hand in hand. Sometimes losing weight will improve your health. Yeah. But not always. I am literally living proof of the fact that losing weight has made my health incredibly worse, like so much worse. Yeah. I am the unhealthiest I've ever been, but I'm also in the smallest body. For some people, being in a smaller body will improve their health 100%. Yeah. But not everyone. And it really depends how you do it. Yeah. If you cut out whole food groups, you won't be happier or healthier, because your body really does need carbs, and it really does need this and that and the other. Like, it does need them to function. Again, I'm living proof of the fact that you need to have a balanced diet. So if you're calorie controlling to the point where you're eating too little, you also won't be in a healthy body. Like, something else I've learned from SIBO is that snacking in between meals interrupts a function in our body called the MMC, the migrating motor complex. So we really should be aiming for like 3 or 4 hours between meals of not eating, because it's a cleansing wave that like squeezes our food through our intestines. And when we eat food, it interrupts this, so we can stagnate. So for someone like me, who's constantly trying to keep that system moving, I can't snack between meals, and I aim to leave 4 to 5 hours between my meals. So I have to make sure that those meals are nutrient dense and calorie dense. Yeah. I can't be out in this place eating 400 calorie salads, because I won't make it to my next meal. For me, I would rather get my calories from 3 lovely big meals with fats, proteins, carbs, minerals, everything that I physically at this point in my life can manage is going to be on that plate, because then I'm not going to be interrupting this system in between. But we've also been told that we should have 2 snacks and 3 meals, and we can graze and all of this. And I know from a digestive standpoint that it's actually not ideal. Eating calorie dense meals is good for our health. We can't be restricting them. We can't be doing that, because I think we focus on feeling full. Like our snack might be a bit of cucumber. Great, it's a great snack, but put it in your meal with a load of healthy fat and stuff like that, and you'll make it to your next meal and you'll let that cleansing wave happen. So that we look at it and we go, wow, I can eat a whole cucumber for like 20 calories. Well, that'll be my snack because I won't be hungry. And it's like, there's more to it than hunger.
Yeah.
There's so much more to it than hunger. You will be in a healthier body, a happier body. Don't cut shit out and you eat what your body needs to then have the energy to spend it.
Yeah.
If you have the energy in your body to then go on a nice long walk, if you don't, you won't. There's just so many elements and facets to it. But I've learned a lot about body image through learning so much about the digestive system and the way that it works. 100%. It's changed a lot for me.
This has been amazing. I feel like we could talk for hours and hours and hours.
You know what? Every single time I speak to anyone, this is what they say. And it's like, I'm well aware that it's because I never shut the fuck up. I'm like well aware it's because I just ramble.
I love it. So it's all interesting though, but we have come to the end of our podcast.
Yeah.
And Melissa, where can people find you on Instagram?
My name is the.confident mama. Somebody sadly already had the confident mama, so we have a little dot between the V and the confident, but it's the confident mama.
I will add all of that in the show notes. Thank you so much and have a fabulous day.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed listening to this episode, then please head over to give us a rating. We would really, really appreciate that. And as a return, send us a screenshot of your rating and we will send you a free 45-minute hypnosis for absolute daily motivation. This is a must listen to every day in order to create your best future self.